During COVID, given that during the lockdown between March and May, given that women could not travel, approximately 1 packet of pills was shipped every single day to women in Malta. That is an indication of the number of women who are actually having abortions. Oh yes, absolutely. As a young person growing up in Malta 62 years ago, abortion was just not talked about at all, right? It was simply a non-issue. I went to a church school, I went to a Jesuit sixth form, so abortion was just not on the cards at all. I then went to medical school, and for the first 2-3 years, once again, simply not talked about. Soon after graduation, though, when I started working in the UK, and I decided, to follow my heart in gynecology and obstetrics, I was working on medical wards where abortion was being done. And at that time, I put myself forward as a conscientious objector. I have to admit that this is one of these things that builds up, okay? The more you read, the more you understand, the more you talk to people, the more you debate these issues. I think the fact that, the United Nations Commission on Human Rights considers abortion to be the right of women, once you read these documents that are in the public domain, the most recent one, I think, was published in the late 80s, very, very clearly stated that abortion is a human right, because abortion care is, in fact, health care. If you don't provide abortion care, if you let women do the unsafe thing, then they die. Abortion is about protecting women who are pregnant, okay? It's always been a human right. It is a human right now, and it will always be a human right. Let me give you an example. Imagine a scenario where a human being, in order to remain alive, would have to be connected to another human being. This is obviously a thought experiment, right? It doesn't happen. It happens in reality through dialysis. Imagine a dialysis machine, and instead of being connected to a machine, you have to be connected to a human being to remain alive. Does that person to whom you are connected for life have a right to say, no, I will not be connected to you for 24 hours a day, for 7 days a week, for 40 weeks, so that you can stay alive? No, I won't. I have a life to live. I'd rather not, okay? Go somewhere else to do that. I believe that women, in fact, women who are forced not to have abortion, women who are, for whom abortion is a criminal offense, are not actually allowed to make that choice. Now, that choice is important. So think of a woman who is, for example, 17 weeks pregnant. I'm purposely choosing a time which is, pre-viable, if you like. And imagine that she has a serious condition, a serious infection, perhaps, that is threatening her life. This is, in fact, the Savita case that happened in Ireland. And imagine, therefore, that this woman has a choice to make. In Malta, she does not have that choice. In Malta, she cannot decide, yes, I would like to continue with my pregnancy even though I know that I will die. No, I would not like to continue with this pregnancy because I have other children and I do not want to die right now. Okay? That choice does not exist. And that is therefore a removal of human rights. I think, sadly, that the church has a lot to do with this, and I think this is a bit of a problem from my point of view. Clearly, the younger you are, the more flexible you are. And we also have some data, in fact, I think some from your studies and also from studies that we've done amongst medical doctors last year, of whom 450 of them were surveyed, and the majority of them were in favor of abortion under certain circumstances. Of course, these included doctors of all ages. Younger people, no doubt, have a different view about abortion. We can see that the various polls that are being done across the various news agencies are showing us that there are changes. Now, whether this is because the church has imposed its views on others, I don't know. What I know is that if you are a true believer in the Catholic faith, you could actually read what Catholics for Choice have published. And what they publish is very clearly a matter of conscience. So if you truly, in your conscience, believe that in this particular circumstance, abortion is the right thing to do, then you should follow your conscience. How is it possible that abortion is considered murder in Malta by our laws, but it is not in every other European country. So does that mean to say that if I live in France or Germany, I am not a murderer, but if I live in Malta, I am? I mean, this doesn't make any sense. It truly does not make any sense. Well, I'd like to actually meet one of them. But if I did meet one of them, I would say to that person, hopefully female, please speak the truth. Speak from your heart. Say what you really believe in. Yes, you may not get elected, but speak the truth. Say what you really believe in. I think it's mostly young people. It has been a coalescence, as you say, of different movements coming from different angles. You know, some are feminists, some are not, some are very young, some are slightly older, some are professionals, some are not. The coalition of all these voices. I mean, in fact, the coalition is called Voices for Choice because each of us has a different voice. Yes, it's true, Doctors for Choice are the new kids on the block, if you like, perhaps considered to have more power. I don't actually believe that. I think doctors have the same power as everybody else. But it's important that we have a platform from which we can speak. We can speak our voice. Why has that happened recently? I think we're just moving with the times. I'd like to believe that people have opened their eyes. They are now reading more. They are traveling more, apart from COVID. And therefore, they are more exposed to different viewpoints. And I think that's a wonderful situation. Essentially, restrictive abortion laws, as we have in Malta, which are a total ban of abortion, right? You cannot have an abortion under any circumstances, whatever the circumstances. These restrictive laws impact mostly poor women. Okay, now these are either women who cannot travel because they can't afford to travel, or it is women who can't get a visa and therefore can't travel, so migrants, for example, or those who are in abuse situations. These women cannot travel. These are the women who are most negatively affected. In the United Kingdom, about 85% of all abortions take place under 10 weeks. And something like 50% take place under 7 weeks. These are all done by taking pills, medical abortion pills, right? So during COVID, given that during the lockdown between March and May, given that women could not travel, approximately 1 packet of pills was shipped every single day to women in Malta. That is an indication of the number of women who are actually having abortions. So it is happening. The ban on abortion is simply making it impossible or unsafe for some women, and that is totally unfair. Why do people use contraception? Well, they use contraception for exactly the same reason that when contraception fails, they have an abortion, or they might need an abortion. So this is another reason why Doctors for Choice is pushing very, very hard to improve accessibility to contraception services. For example, you might know that some pills are out of stock. You know, they simply go out of stock for a period of time. So women suddenly find themselves that they can't find the pills that they were going to take. So now they stop their pills and they get pregnant. So whose fault exactly is this? Is it our fault because we don't provide the service? Or is it the fault of the women who are not looking for using alternative forms of contraception? Clearly, it's the former and not the latter.